So, Foreign Minister, many thanks for joining me here in Brussels. I would like to start from the EU Commission's positive recommendation lately that North Macedonia and Albania should start membership talks with the European Union now. But there are some member states, as far as we know, such as France or the Netherlands, that don't seem to have this appetite for a new enlargement. So what could a further delay mean for you?
Thank you for the opportunity. We have good news from a region that rarely brings good news, from the Balkans. We have an exceptionally positive report, and essentially the message is we have delivered on the preconditions to start accession talks. Saying no to North Macedonia this year essentially undermines the credibility of the European Union in the region and questions if Europe is serious when it talks that the promise of Thessaloniki of 2003, that the place of the region is in Europe, is still there. So the stakes are quite high both on the EU side and on our side. For the region, we only have two competing visions. The European vision for the region is we all become better democracies, governed by the rule of law, cooperating with each other, trading, and borders don't matter much. The competing vision is the focus on borders, especially on ethnic borders, and we saw what happened in the 90s with that vision. Mm-hmm. So I think the stakes are quite high, and I am fairly confident that we will make it, that we will have we're going to be in the next phase of our European journey. This is only the start, by the way. I think in some countries this is not fully, especially in the public debates in some member states. We are not talking about joining the EU today. We are talking about starting the process that lasts for years and that should be used so that we become more European.
You mentioned the Presby Agreement, that it was a very, very major breakthrough also for the European Union and the entire world and for the region. And I want to ask you, do you think that this agreement, apart from giving you the opportunity to seek the EU accession talks, is it also an opportunity to put an end to any irredentist claims or any nationalisms?
The Balkans is a region that is very rich with history, but we don't often manage to produce future and hope. The agreement, it is true, unlocks our European future, but it also unlocks a huge potential for cooperation with our neighboring country, with Greece. We have already agreed to open 2 new border crossings. Trade has already increased. Interest for investment from both sides of the border is there. I think it's a European victory because it is a reconciliation between two peoples, neighbors, using Europe values and European incentives as a context. And I think the more we implement the Presby Agreement, the less it will be used for domestic political competitions and blame games.
As there are elections in Greece very soon, and the opposition party was really against, actually, this Presby Agreement. Are you worried for a backsliding with the new conservative government, let's say?
I think this was an agreement done between two countries, ratified by two parliaments, witnessed by the United Nations with the signature of our mediator, Mr. Matthew Nimitz. So it is there. It is true that obviously in the process, the trust and the understanding that was required to cover the major concerns of Greece and the major concerns on our side was done initially with Minister Kotsias, then with Minister Katrougalos, between Prime Minister Tsipras and Prime Minister Zaev. So it will take some time and political engagement to be on the same page with any Greek government. I'm deeply, I said this previously, I will say it again. we managed to become greater without changing territories, because it tells a lot about a country when you observe how a country treats its neighbors. And so it took a great leadership and thinking about what do we like to see 10 years from now, and not how to score more points at the next elections to do this. And this is why the praise, triumph of diplomacy. This year, good news come from the region. This is what Heiko Maas said, the German foreign minister, when he presented the awards to Prime Minister Tsipras and Prime Minister Zaev. I think we really did something great, because you can't really resolve a problem and become friends if you fully defeat your neighbor. There has to be something for both. And this is what our compromise is about.